Everything's fine.
This week on Hatty's Unhinged, I have my guest FIONN Ó Lóingsigh. You will know him from stage performances such as Play on the Stars at the National, the off-Broadway transfer of Conversations After Sex, and the Irish Times Theatre Awards winning The Last Return. On screen, you'll know him from things like Trigonometry, Darklands, Broken, and for his beautiful performance in What Richard Did, the movie, and Dano in Cardboard Gangsters, for which he was IFTA nominated. I just know him as one quarter of the happiest home I've ever lived in, affectionately known as the Palace, and we now co-Godparent the tiny creature that moved in instead of us. FIONN Ó Lóingsigh, thank you so much for coming on Hatty's Unhinged. How you doing?
I will just say this, that I was actually booted out by that baby.
No, I know you. No,
I had to leave.
Yeah. That's actually not. I did say that she lives there instead of us, but we don't live there because of her.
At least, but I was out of a home.
I thought I had the option of coming back.
I love her dearly, but she's the reason I don't live in that place anymore.
She's the most pleasant squatter I think I've ever met.
And I was the most pleasant.
You were the most pleasant.
Or maybe the least, until
that child turned up. She is good. I do like her, and I'm thrilled that she's our godchild. But I be honest, the fact that I still say to her, like, you're in my room, and she's like, no, Hattie, like, no, you're in my room. I'm not there. I didn't have the option of coming back to that because of you.
You saw my room. My room's just where they dry clothes and put all their random everything. There's not even traces of me there anymore. Apart from, like, I think I left my dryer there, the
heat one.
Yeah,
that dryer.
And there's a chair there, but that's the only,
Is that weird chair you bought? You just randomly bought a chair.
Well, I bought one chair, and then you were there, I think.
Yeah.
And I just delivered 2 chairs. So now there are 2. Well, no, one is actually.
What I think I need to make clear to people listening is FIONN didn't buy a chair like a nice, soft, comfy chair that you would sit in your. You bought a kitchen table chair. You bought one kitchen table chair.
That's not true.
It is.
I'm being misrepresented here to all the listeners.
It's cushioned. But it's a kitchen table chair. It's not like a soft, comfy armchair.
That's up for debate, I would say.
Okay.
Robin says it's very comfortable, though we did break it. So
exactly, is that comfortable?
So well anymore.
And then you got 2, so we just had 2 random. We didn't have a kitchen table.
There still isn't. I have to sit in Thisbe's chair when I go over. Robin has to stand.
I know. It's a tiny little chair. I love the fact so much that we still call it the Palace, and it was always the Palace. It will always be the Palace. But when you explain it to people, you're like, oh, like a shack, like a chaotic shack.
And how did it work? But it worked remarkably well.
4 of us lived in that place, and it's a 3-bedroom, and not one of those like spacious multi-level 3-bedroom like.
And they were petrified about us not getting on.
I know. Well, that was the thing. Here we are, podding like babes. They were, and I actually remember Roche, because I knew, obviously, Roche, and you knew.
You were doing the play together.
We were doing the play together, and you'd known Robin, and I guess by virtue Roche. But I remember her before I moved in being like, drilling me on your name. Yeah, drilling me on it, being like,
well, I will just say that you pronounced my second name exceptionally well.
Didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, because
that's the highest compliment I can pay anybody.
No, I know that's
Irish
huge.
people can't say it.
This kind of part compensates for the fact that I got served a lifetime ban on the Irish accent when I was living with you.
But you're certified native, though, by someone who won't be named.
So basically, when you're at drama school, you go through these, as I was, thank you, you go through the accent exams, because they want to, at the end of your CV, at the end of your training there, they will say on your CV which accents you're good at, and they will...
Is that still in your CV?
They will star next to the ones that an outside examiner...
Nobody would ever know. What are you, from West Cork? That's exceptional. It's so specific. Cork Derry.
Cork Derry. They will star next to the accent the ones that an outside examiner, a trained accent examiner, comes in and decides that you're native. You're so good at it that it's native. Very esteemed people who do this. So I was given, after we all went to FIONN's Cardboard Gangsters premiere, which was, unbelievable.
The tracksuit bottoms.
Yeah, and afterwards I just couldn't not. It was one of those annoying, and I just kept doing, and eventually they were like, you have to stop. You must never.
But you're going to ruin our friendship.
Ever do the Irish accent. And I couldn't believe, I was like, I'm native. And they were like, what do you mean
Look
you're
at my
native?
certificate.
But look at my certificate. And I was like, no, I got told that my Irish accent is so good that it's actually of native standard. And Fionn was like, who told you it was native standard? And it was the woman who had told you in a theatre show that your Dublin accent wasn't a good enough Dublin accent.
No. In fairness, now she didn't say that.
She didn't.
She just didn't try to, give any sort of. She was taking pointers from me.
Yeah.
Ultimately. And she's a lovely woman, and I was glad that she didn't try to.
No, she didn't.
Teach me, FIONN Ó Casey.
But she was there to tell everyone else from Ireland how to do the Dublin accent. Yes.
I mean, she just didn't bother.
No, because she's not Irish.
She's not Irish.
Rogue.
She's
Huge shout.
pure.
That's a huge shout from the theatre, is to bring in an English woman to teach.
Oh yeah.
To teach Irish people to do the Dublin accent.
And there's
Mega.
nothing better than to be told how to speak in your own accent by
An English
a
woman.
member of the elite. And, we have a bit of history between us, the Irish and the British.
No.
You,
I don't.
I've heard about that.
I
It's not
think you'll
taught in
find it's
school,
not on the
so-
syllabus. Yeah. Okay, talk to my school because I think we're fine.
No, we're all getting on really well. What are you talking about?
That was. I will say this. That was I think the most humbling. Not a few humbling moments of us all living in the palace, but realizing I knew this much about, and I'm saying zero for people listening, about the Irish English.
But it's also not your fault, I would say.
Yeah, but you're saying that because you like me, but
No, because when I moved here in 2015, I remember just speaking to people who weren't, and the only reason they knew anything about empire in general is because they self-educated,
Yeah.
as they got older.
Yeah.
And we were there too.
Well, I
But
did.
I mean, it's just like, it's deliberately not on the syllabus.
No,
obviously.
sure,
It's
for
not
good
just
reason.
Ireland. I mean, it's...
I know, and I thought I'd really done quite well on Educate because I obviously knew all the FIONN Ó Casey plays, and I loved that, and I loved seeing you, and so that I
Did
knew,
you?
yeah, because I'd studied them. So that was one of those, like, I'd studied FIONN Ó Casey, so I knew that aspect of it and all that, like Abbey Riots. I knew all of that, but I still just hadn't kind of pieced
So
together.
this is what, during Lambda?
No.
Or just
During
yourself?
school. During school, we'd done FIONN Ó
Really?
Casey, yeah, but
That's
in
kind of remarkable.
drama. It wasn't in
Sure.
English. It wasn't in history. It was in drama.
So
So I
whatever
knew
history you would have gleaned would have been from...
was from the theatre, was from the
O'Casey's.
shows. Yeah. So I knew that there'd been like a little bit of a tussle, but you know what I mean? Like
A skirmish.
a little bit of a,
couple of skirmishes.
I wanna. But I was like,
Please get out of our land. Why do you make us speak
Brett. Like I was like, that's funny. But then I mean, even like the other month when we were both in Dublin and that we were walking from my hotel, do you remember, back into town, and oh no, I told you about it, and I was walking down the river walk, and I was like, hey, real quick, there's all these posters. Who's Bobby Sands? I was like, okay.
Where do we start? Where do we...
Why does he get this walk? What's this about? Does he like sponsor something? Hatty. No.
Look, I blame the system, okay?
Okay, well, that's good. Let's stick with that. Speaking of systems, this brings me nicely onto my opening question.
Okay. I have to leave.
You have to leave. Do you need a wee again? So obviously we're starting this whole thing from the launch point of the fact that, as you know very well, I've been trying for a baby for the last couple of years, which to many looks slightly unhinged on the outside, but I'm not feeling that, and I feel like it's absolutely right. Where in your life
Everywhere.
have you made, when you look back, you're like, are there any moments where you feel like you made a decision that on the surface to other people looked unhinged and everyone questioned it and everyone was like, eh, but actually you in yourself, in your heart, knew that was exactly right for you?
I mean, when you sent me the kind of things to think about,
Yeah.
I mean, fundamentally, I think what we do, first of all, would appear to many and to most people in wider society is completely unhinged.
Yes.
Because there's no stability, no security. If you're pursuing any sort of artistic endeavor, it seems completely mental. You're like, well, where's your income? It's like, well, no, I'll maybe just do the thing. And you're like, well, when's your next job? And of course, anytime you have a job, if you're looking to get a job, as soon as you have one, they're like, anything lined up? You're like, ask me that again.
Fucking, are you fucking?
Apart from post office. But I think, I mean, in general, to be any sort of, and it's hard to use the term without sounding pretentious, but to be an artist in any capacity is kind of insane. And it's not really a choice. I always feel that. I mean, I never sat down and thought, this is what I want to do. I was just doing it.
Yeah.
And I think the true, again, I don't care about being pretentious, but the true artist, it's a need, right?
That's really interesting you say that, because my therapist, thank you, were talking about this the other day, and I was like, that's the deal. I was like, When you live a life that is inconsistent and no stability and no financial security and no concept of what the end of the month's going to look like, let alone the end of the year. And she kind of stopped me. She was like, right, but it's a choice. I was like,
it's not.
Do you know what? It isn't actually. She was like, well, no, Hattie, but you know what I mean? It's a choice to do. I was like, and that's maybe something you won't get, actually. I can't ever explain to you. I was like, ask any artist if they chose to do this. I don't think you find one that said yes.
No, not at all. I mean, there are those who pursue it for the wrong reasons, for money, for fame, whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, the true artists, you just have to do it, right? And I honestly, like I said a minute ago, like I never went, this is what I want to do. I just found myself doing it.
Yeah.
From kind of childhood and the other God, and I was doing plays in college and stuff. And I was like, well, I never really thought. I mean, I remember the first professional gig I got, I was getting paid for it, like just a standard rate. And I was like, this is mental. How am I getting away with this? Someone's paying me to do the thing that I actually fucking love.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think. No one makes a decision. I don't think. Or like the people who are in it for the right reasons don't make a decision.
No. Do you remember that? I was actually, me and Hamish talking about this before. Do you remember that walk we went on in Hoth when we were both in a bit of like a and I said
we was doing conversation the first time.
I think it was, yeah. I was over in Dublin, and we were saying like we've got to stop talking to each other and telling ourselves like, hey, it won't always be like this, guy. It won't always be like this. You know, it's not. We're going to look back on these years and we've got to stop telling because this is it. This is it.
And there's no end point, and I wouldn't want it to be like, and now we've arrived. Now, I mean, even if it comes to the financial aspect, or if you're, and God forbid, if we ever become actually famous, who the fuck wants that?
I know.
No one actually just doesn't. It's not real.
Yeah.
But there's no. Oh yeah, like the next job, the next one will be the big thing. Then I'll break. Then it'll be.
And then you can just have holidays that you can go on, and there'll be loads of money, and you can have lovely dinners. The hilltop will never look like that. I think.
No, well,
I think maybe we just get better at handling it, or do we not? Like this is it. The constant like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I think this is it.
It is. No, I think it is, and it's. But I mean, it's it's exhilarating and terrifying simultaneously.
Yeah.
And I think that's like to do anything conventional. I think would probably kill us.
Well, do you remember during lockdown we talked about this? We were like, you suddenly realise. I mean, obviously with acting and comedy being shut down. What it was so hard to explain to people. Obviously, the money stuff was pretty scary, and people, and getting like, what was it? Actors got 80% of their declared earnings, and you're like,
I owe the British government $4,500 because apparently I wasn't eligible.
You weren't there, and you didn't deserve any more than that, and it would have been a nightmare if you'd been given more. But what we kind of were trying to stress to people is, it's not about the fact that the industry's gone and I'm not earning. Like, you've taken away the thing we love the most.
Yeah, it's no outlet.
I don't know what to do. Like,
yourself.
do you remember, I mean, I was nannying, and do you remember I called you guys, and I was like, I'd screamed at one of the neighbours, like I'd fucking I'd had about like 11 rosés of an evening, and just yelled at one of their neighbours. I'd fucking lost it, and I was like, what is that?
It's supposed to be coffee, but it just
my God, I thought it was a speaker. That's the jazziest. Don't just fucking open the most spacey coffee thermos I've ever seen and think it's not going to get a comment. What have you done?
Frank and Green.
Jesus, you've changed.
I know.
You've changed.
Vegan, keep cups.
Oh, God.
What a scumbag. Sorry, go on.
No, but I was like, and I remember waking up the next day and being like, you haven't had an outlet for this. Like, you haven't had an outlet for like the rage and the like seeing something that you disagree with.
Building up.
And I just fucking lost it. Like,
you need an outlet.
This like annoying, posh, Wandsworthian, arrogant man. And I was like, fuck it, I'm in. Like, this is it. This is the punch bag I've been waiting for. I feel like I mean, we're talking about unhinged things. Your ability to not only flip over the edge, but to push other people over the edge is probably one of the most breathtakingly talented things I've ever seen in my life. Would you want to tell the viewers about being, the viewers and listeners about being barred from the local post office?
Yes, well, of course. Well, a post office come newsagents.
Sorry, I wasn't clear about the hybrid nature of the building. Yeah.
Well, this is, and again, won't be using names, but an ex of mine was in a play, and I wanted to see if the reviews are out.
Because you're a good boyfriend, and that's what you wanted to do. Yeah.
Delightful, man. So I was rifling through the papers trying to see if the reviews, and then God was like, what do you need to buy one of those? And I was like, just give me a second. I just want to see if the thing that I'm looking for is in the paper. Things escalated quite quickly.
No, sure. No, I believe that.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened.
No, because you're in a rage blackout.
Red mist.
Yeah.
And about 20 seconds later, I was then barred from the post office. This was the only Well, the closest certainly to us. And it was a newsagent. And it's right around the corner from where we lived. You know, I really needed to use that shop.
You did.
I couldn't go back in.
Did you get given like an expiry date on the ban, or you just think? Do you think
it's a lifetime ban? I think it's. I mean, I've been to Battersea many times since. I haven't. I put my.
Do you
whole
swerve it? Do you even try?
I take the long way around.
Yeah. No, that's right. Do you think you'd walk in and they'd just be like, whoa, would go off?
Yeah, there's photos.
Facial recognition.
Behind the counters and all.
Oh, fabulous. With a reward.
I mean, I really don't remember what happened. I think I just immediately flipped.
I believe that. Yeah, you just.
I was like, I'm just
looking at the fucking review.
I was trying to be reasonable, which lasts for about, I don't know, 2 sentences.
I would say, yeah.
And if someone's not being reasonable back, then...
How boring is reasonable, though, you know?
Again, not a violent man. I would just start fights.
Yeah.
And occasionally, people then hit me. And then I go up to them afterwards, I go, why did you hit me?
Yeah, I know.
Because you're winding me up.
Because I don't think you swing, do you? You're not... Have you ever swung? Like, have you ever hit someone?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
I mean, my dad, but that's...
No, it's
he was
different.
hitting me as
that's
well.
Just love. That's just love.
These were genuinely mock fights.
Yeah.
I did break his rib when I was 10, which I'm still quite proud of. Well, fractured his rib. Never actually hit anyone in a fight. I've been decked many a time.
Yeah, no, that
nearly always I do go up and ask them. And they're like,
yeah.
Get away from me. I'm going to hit you again. I go, but why?
Why?
Let's discuss.
As you like rub your cheek against them, like
Let's
taunting.
discuss this. Let's really get into it, guys.
Oh my God. This is actually, it's funny because of your role in Cardboard Gangsters, Dano, which was so brilliant in. And I remember watching it, having lived with you for what, a year by that point? I think it was the summer, wasn't it? So I'd lived with you for about a year by that point.
That's Jesus, yeah. It felt like way longer because we were 18 months there together.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And seeing that, and it's so not you. Like it's so brilliant because for people who know you inside out, like we all do, like it's not you at all. And yet it was
elements,
right, and yet it was so easy for you, like that. And I talked to someone recently.
That's an outlet. I mean, that for sure.
I wondered that because someone recently who is an Irish comedian who is absolutely obsessed with your work and what you did and Cardboard Gangsters was like, but like that, Royce, is he like that? And I was like,
only in a post office.
Only in the post office.
When he's not allowed to look at the newspapers.
But do you want to talk about because the you guys filming that is kind of like wild. Myth. Yeah, that's what this guy was saying. He was like, is it true they all lived together during the filming of it? I was like, yeah, they did. What was that like?
Well, we lived so John Connors wrote it with Mark O'Connor, and John's the lead, amazing actor, amazing activist as well. Yeah. We all lived, in his, because he's a traveller, and he was going back to the site, and so I think he was in the house maybe 10 years. Yeah. But his mum moved out, and basically, so the house in the film is his actual house. Mm-hmm. But we just lived there because it was the last couple of weeks that they had it. Yeah. We filmed it there. I think we lived there for 3 weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks before the shoot. Just kind of get to know each other. Yeah. I would have known John a little bit, but the other two guys I hadn't. Yeah. I don't think I'd met before, and we had to be friends from childhood. Sure. So we need to create that kind of rapport. Yeah, I mean, it was mental. I mean, in the best way, and I think it paid off. Yeah. But there were moments where we wanted to obviously murder each other. And there were only so it was John had his own room, and then there were 2 other rooms, but then we rotated, and like sometimes one of us had to sleep on the couch. Yeah. And there's a quite a famous nightclub which shut down very soon after filming. I don't think there's any correlation between that, called the Blacker. No. And yeah, we went there, and it was just completely wild nights. But I mean, it was all set in this. Well, it's more than an estate, various estates, Darringdale, which is one of the most disadvantaged areas, I think, in Ireland. Mm-hmm. So we just immersed ourselves in that. It's actually very close, and obviously I'd be considered posh, but very close to where I grew up, like 15 minutes in the car, but a very different world. Yeah. So it's very important to the film, but yeah, Were there moments in that? Did you then stay together while you were shooting? Yeah, I think I cracked. Yeah. Like, imagine maybe the last week or something. What was it? Do you remember why? Or like you just got too much? Just a lot of sessions. Sure. And I think I got there was what I'm worried about is when FIONN won't tell you what the session entails. That's when you get worried. That's when you're like, uh-oh. Well, there was one moment and I snapped, and I'm kind of ashamed of it, to be honest. I had an audition for a video game, not the Billy Bridge. Not the okay, fine. But the same director. Yeah. I got close to it anyway, and I was trying to be sensible that night, and went to bed early, and the lads were having a session, which is totally fine, acceptable. I just went downstairs like I don't know, like someone's dad or something. I was like, for fuck's sake, I got this fucking audition. I'm like, shut the fuck. And lads were like, right, you okay? And I think I moved out the following week. I went back to my aunt and uncle's from running away. Like,
I'm going home.
like a little posh kid now. I can't handle this anymore.
I'm going back to my
I
family.
want the comfy bed on my own.
But I was like, I don't know how you got by without, like, you love a routine. Like, you love your Bix in the morning. And you think, like, how did they get on with that?
Back on the Bix.
You are back.
With the routine.
Yeah.
Well, also, I was trying to get fitter for it.
Sure.
I think we
Because you were topless for the whole thing.
Just pretty much.
They were like, Fionn's wardrobe budget for that film was the cheapest thing. It was
some dodgy tattoos, a horrendous haircut.
Got some red tracky bays. See you later.
Well, we survived on cans of tuna and chicken breasts.
Right.
Pretty much.
Good.
Because I was like, yeah, that's what people eat when they're trying to get fit. Just a lot of protein. And
yeah.
then my aunt was like, you're going to get mercury poisoning. I was just eating tuna all the time. Just cans of it on its own. With some Frank's hot sauce on top of it. we went shopping. John brought, like, in Iceland, you know, I don't know if you have Iceland.
Yeah,
you do, of course. Yeah. Like these jumbo packs of, like, I don't know, 50 chicken breasts, the frozen ones.
Yeah, of course.
We just ate that. I mean, I don't know how we survived, to be honest.
No, but but that checks out. The film makes sense with that. You know, I mean, it makes sense anyway, but like when you watch the film, you're like, yeah, no, that strikes me as four boys who've lived on chicken and tuna and Frank sauce for a few weeks.
That chaotic energy of, like, being on the verge of everyone's going to just
collapse and die. Yeah. That's brilliant. Oh, that's
but I think it translated. You know,
oh, most definitely did.
Would I want to do it again? Not so sure.
Could you do it again?
You could, probably not.
Oh, man.
But it was great.
It was great. It was an unbelievable film.
Well, no, but the experience was. Despite all that.
Do you remember it very fondly?
I know. I remember it very, very fondly.
Yeah.
Another instance with the lads went down. I think I was rare occasion trying to be good, and I at the couch that night. They're like, we're going out, and they came back and they woke me up and like, Fionn, we're having a session upstairs. Because I was sleeping on, like, in the sitting room on the couch. And I was like, all right.
Got your pillow and your teddy, like, okay.
Little blankie.
Okay, I'll sleep in the attic.
So that's the scene where John punches through the wall.
Yeah.
That was one take.
Yeah.
That was his actual bedroom.
Fine.
And he hadn't planned to do it.
Just did it.
And he just, because he's a boxer, he was a very successful boxer, and he just put this, which is kind of, and then, because another mad story, it was like, you know, here's Johnny, because it was a hole, and at one point I was in the other room, and he was, on another one of the sessions,
hey.
he'd be like singing through the hole in the wall, I mean, like demented stuff. But it was, I remember that very, very vividly. Just like singing through a hole in his bedroom. Like, yeah. I was like, I'm going to lose it. I will lose it.
I will lose it.
I want to go back to house.
I want to go back to
Please.
Please. Oh, I just want my nice.
But it was terrific, though.
Yeah, I believe it. Jeez Louise. And then, okay, are there also moments that you look back on and you go, that to everyone looked unhinged? This is probably a good segue. And it was. Like,
no, definitely.
You're like, that was when everyone was like questioning me, like, Fionn, are you sure? And you're like, absolutely, but it was not.
You're moving into Darndale, you're just going to be there. And also, just no matter where it is, just, four of us, while shooting, just living, like spending all day together on set. And the set was the house and the estates.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't really. Pretty much everything was shot in and around that area, so it was very. I mean, it got claustrophobic, of course, which certainly, sounds completely mental.
But it was.
But then it did. I mean, it was definitely unhinged.
Yeah.
But it paid off.
Yeah, so that's a good.
Yes,
it's both of them.
Yeah.
But I know, knowing you as an actor and knowing you and how you operate, you're so rigid. Not rigid, but like attentive to script and text and thought and your work beforehand. So in that environment where you kind of can't, where you're just shit-faced when you're not on set, how did you find it? Like, did you go to a different place where you are just, without using the word method, which we all hate, like, was it more that, or do you think you still managed to feel like grounded and doing your work in your way? Kind
of. I mean, the director kind of, I tried to stay in the accent for a bit.
Yeah.
But I kind of hate that.
I know.
Because you just feel like bit of a fraud.
Yeah.
I did it for a little bit, but I was like, I don't know. Yeah, the method thing never. I mean, it's also anything that people think about method isn't actually what method is.
What the thing is, yeah.
It's like the whole Strasbourg thing isn't something I subscribe to anyway.
Yeah.
I think people see like Day-Lewis and they go, oh my God, like it's incredible. And I saw your pod recently, which was fucking great. Now I'm a butcher.
Yeah.
Now I'm Abraham Lincoln.
Oh God.
I mean, his wife, my God.
She's a very well respected. I think she's Alf Miller's daughter, but she's a very well respected playwright and director and writer. Like she's. I always. I think and that I found so interesting because I did my googling afterwards. I should have done a report, but I was like, I feel like if you came home the way we were, we're the 4 actors who all live together at the Palace are sort of. I would always say we're mates in spite of the fact we're actors. Like we're not actory people.
We
do you know what I mean? Like rarely talk about acting. And actually, if you'd come back at any given point when you were working or like and been like, guys, I really want to get into, I really want you to talk. Just only call me Dano for a bit, and I just really want to make sure that
me as Bill the Butcher.
Yeah, we'd have been like. You'd have been torn a new asshole, and rightly, and vice consequently, all of us would.
If one of you guys came back, I go, fuck
off. Fuck off. Do you remember when you did
you're
that?
You're not getting away with this. If you want to do that, stay in your own room because we're not going to talk to you. Like it's so.
I also it's called acting. Like it's called acting. Like
I remember you always saying this, and it's so true.
That's you're pretending. That's one of my favorite things.
Make believe.
I must have told you this. I remember in university doing shows, and you know how pretentious you all get at university when you're doing a show, and you're like, you're the fucking.
I don't think there's anyone in university who wasn't.
No one is more pretentious than a university actor.
Amazing work.
She's fucking giving her Meryl Streep on a Thursday night after lacrosse practice. Like here she is, and
she's arrived.
She's here. This is groundbreaking theatre, and I remember my mate Tom, who did it with me. He went home and we were doing Death of a Salesman because everyone wants to see 20-year-olds do Death of a Salesman.
Oh, I did that as well.
Everybody wants to see that.
I gave best biff the world has ever seen. So
Linda, thank you. And I remember my mate Tom going home that night, and you know, Death of a Salesman, we really went. Like it was really hard to see him. We fucking went there. Like we went to somewhere. And he went home to his house where his flatmates were, who were just like normal 20-year-old university students. Just and Tom apparently walked in and was like, you know, threw up his bag. I was like,
dragging a suitcase.
I was like, just like, oh, got home. Was like, phew. And his housemate looked up from the video and went, hard day pretending, was it? And I always think of that. I'm like, yeah, I hope.
But fundamentally, that's what it is.
I hope we all have people for the rest of our lives who do that to us.
Yeah.
Because we get so in on it and so like, but
there's so much pretentiousness and like a lack of self-awareness, and people think they're.
Actually, what I still think there's a huge what I think the thing we don't praise enough is when your friends are in terrible projects. You know, when your mates are in terrible projects.
And how do you support them?
They know. But I think that is the best part about being friends with actors is the drink after the show. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but how do you? I mean, have you figured out a way of?
You know, what I'm like.
No, I know, but it's such a delicate thing.
I went straight in on the last one.
Like if it was me, if it was you know, it's terrible. You also don't want to hear from anyone.
Do you think that?
Well, I don't know.
I went hard in on the last one. That we won't say who, but we both know who. And I went up to see it, and it's so bad. It's so bad. And I just like, I think he sat down, we got a pint, and he was like, so are you? And I was like, I think I lost in 30 seconds. I was like, but like, that's so bad. And it was the most joyous 2 hours of us just like tearing the thing apart, laughing, because you know you're coming at it from a place of loving that person so deeply that you can be like,
how great they are.
Yeah, knowing how great they are.
That it's underused or misused.
I've got a friend who I would say is the sole. It is the sole perpetrator of this, of being like, come and see the show, and you always go and see the show. And he's been in so much unmitigated shite that it's become like a joke where I turn up and I'm like, you did it again. Like, it's so good.
Well, this is it. I think it might have been Clellian. Someone was saying one of their drama teachers back in the day, they discovered what, I think they might have admitted it anyway.
Yeah.
When a show was terrible and they don't know what to say, they're not going to say, well, I guess you can always say congratulations.
Yeah, great costumes. The costumes were so good in that.
Amazing set.
The costumes were amazing.
But literally, I was going to say it, but you actually said it anyway. You come up to them afterwards, they go, you've done it again. Yeah, you've done it again. It's like, I know exactly. It was so terrible, which means also that the last one was shit. Like, done it again. Hey, you've done it again. And it was years later that I think they discovered what that, that's what she says when it's shit, like so unbearable, bad.
The
rubbish.
comedy equivalent of that is people come up being like, "What you do is so brave."
Brave. I mean, if I ever hear that, I mean,
Yeah,
brave should never be used in our line of work.
No, but I
Any
think
sort of.
I think the acting equivalent is how did you learn all those
I
lines?
know. It's remarkable how, like, that's just the go-to, isn't it?
How did you learn all those
How'd you
lines?
learn your lines? It's like,
How do you go
I
to the
would-
same building every day on the same
Yeah.
commute and not shoot yourself in the gullet? Like, that's what we should be saying to all our normal friends. How did I learn these lines?
how do you learn the
How do you look at yourself in the mirror, Susan?
How do you get up in the morning and think this is okay? This is acceptable. This is my life.
How does it feel being someone who will never be remembered after you're gone, Janet?
You obviously hate yourself. You hate that you were born. You rue the day.
And so, with that, Shay, do you think there are moments that you've had which to all your friends, I can probably answer this, but I'd like you to have a go, which have
Nice
looked
commentary.
unhinged and were? Like, you look back now and you're like, oh, I was at a time in my life where I was not making good decisions. This is a pattern, which I'm asking you because I say this, I moved in, we met when I was in the middle of hurricane season, the time of my life affectionately known as
Yeah.
hurricane season, when I would say, at my most unhinged and chaotic and lost and it's funny that that's how you met me. That's where I was, and over time, obviously, I'm now like an absolute example for sense and reason and
That it
composure.
worked.
Yeah. But where do you look back on times you're like, that was a series of unhingedness, and it was just that, me being unhinged?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know where to begin, and I'm more than happy to
Take pointers.
discuss
Yeah,
these.
yeah.
I mean, of course, there've been a multitude of times when drink is involved,
Sure.
or like, being with a person when you're not,
Sure.
when you know you're not in love with them,
Do you
which is horrendous.
do you think that though?
I
Because
mean, horrendous to the other person, obviously more than anything.
I think, having watched you in a selection of relationships now, a little Cadbury's milk tray of relationships, do you think you have known you're not in love with a person and been with them? Because I actually think you go down with the ship quite a lot. Like, you will, you're the fucking violinist on the Titanic who's like, nope, I'm in, I'm on this.
Well, certainly that would
and everyone
be
else is like, get in the lifeboat.
yeah, an aspect of the unhingedness.
Yeah.
Just how intense
Yeah. Sure.
it can be. And of course, no, there have been relationships where I've known,
Mm-hmm.
certainly one years ago,
Yeah.
with I mean, this is, and not the one we're talking,
yeah,
we're
sure,
thinking
sure.
about
Yeah.
yet, which we'll get
Yeah.
onto. With like, it's just a lovely person, get on really well, like
Yeah.
it's a friend,
Yeah.
and then 2 years down the line, they're going, "Do you love me?" And you're like, which is really shitty
Yeah.
because you don't want to hurt the person, but then you're like, well, I'm only hurting them more by staying with them,
Yeah.
and they're in like it's a total imbalance.
Yeah.
They're in love with me, and I'm not. Like, what am I doing? This is actually cruel now.
Yeah.
You think you're being the good person, but actually you're being a dickhead.
Yeah.
Because the honest and not even courageous.
No, but the
just
right
the decent
answer,
thing
yeah.
to do would be to go look at. And I think sometimes, and this is when I was like, this is early 20s, so
Yeah.
not that I've changed. Anyway, but like there's no excuse. But
What did you do in this? What did you do? What have you done in those situations?
well, eventually, once the question was asked, I just went. Actually, no, I don't think.
Well, I was going to say,
I'm in
because you
love
don't
with
lie. You don't lie well at
Yeah.
all.
Well, it was when I was asked,
Yeah.
and the poor woman had to. I was like, Jesus, this is actually fucking cruel.
Yeah.
And you just have to walk away, but it shouldn't have taken that long.
Sure.
And I think sometimes you're like, oh no, maybe we get on so well, and maybe at some point we'll. That doesn't happen. You either fall in love or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's gonna. It's not something that's gonna grow on you.
Yeah.
We don't. It's such a, well, I don't know, primal thing or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it's gut, it's instinct, and you're amazing with
Mm.
your second sight.
Oh, what my witchness.
Well, just being and being intuitive
Mm-hmm.
and understanding that and going with what feels right.
Do you think you did
Yeah.
love those people at a point and it went, or do you think you didn't and you'd convinced yourself into it?
I don't think I did. No, I don't
Yeah.
think I did love them. And I have been in love and then it's ended
Mhm.
for whatever reason. And I can recognize that now looking
Yeah.
back. I was aware of it at the time. But I do very
Yeah.
intense,
Yes.
lunatic things when I'm...
When you're in love, you are.
Yeah.
It's funny we talked about the
it's
fact
like
you
all
never
or no
swung a
time,
punch. You're
which is not healthy for anybody. And I think and also that's why, I'm very happy in a relationship now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, trying to learn from those experiences and not going, like, if you go, it's like life or death, like all in, I'm
Mm.
all in, which is just kind of, that's madness.
Yeah.
Because it's just too intense and it puts too much on the other person as well. Of, like,
Yeah.
following them around the world. Or
Sure. Yeah. Just yeah. Turning up
Yeah.
unannounced with poetry books.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. That's a hot
I
Fionn
actually,
move.
I had a list of stuff on my phone. I was like, this and then that. And
What was that
I
when you
remember-
turned up at the library she was working at with a poetry book?
no, this was when.
This is
Vivian-
okay. Yeah.
No, this is no. I flew over.
Good.
Now, in fact, okay, I'd known her a little bit,
Yeah.
and then we kind of got together years while I was living in London. She was Dublin.
Yeah.
And we'd been texting, and she had said, "Oh, would it be weird if I came to London?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'd already planned this trip to Dublin
Course you had,
to
yeah.
surprise her, like an absolute maniac.
Mm-hmm.
And she was studying in Trinity, and I was, because I'd been to Trinity, I knew. Like, this only sounds like a stalker.
No, not to me. No, I like it. No.
I mean, obviously knew what she was studying, and I knew what
Yeah.
part of the library she'd be sitting in.
Mm-hmm.
I just flew over and like sat down beside her and I was like, "Hey, do you want to get lunch?" And she was like, thankfully that, I mean, it did pay
Paid off.
and
Yeah.
that was, I was very much in love with the relationship, and it didn't work out. But
Yeah.
because anytime we told the story, people would go, "Well, Jesus, thankfully you liked him."
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, it's mental anyway. Who the fuck just shows up in a library?
Because what you weren't together at that point. You were just texting and like
No,
say, yeah, it's good.
I think because I left in like the start of January, and this is maybe a couple of weeks later.
Yeah.
I was
Good.
like, fuck it, like mad shit.
I know.
Well, definitely seems unhinged and is unhinged, but we were together for 2.5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
know.
So maybe it did
I'm
pay
very
off.
aware of this like impulsive kind of mad streak.
Yeah. But then I think there's been a couple of occasions where you've gone in so intense
Yeah.
and
Crash and
it's
burn.
sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's usually if you I think what you're saying, like when alcohol's involved, like when you're on one of your roles,
Yeah.
when you're in one of your patches of like here, it's like sesh Fionn.
It's
Then
kind of mania.
those relationships are amazing to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're going to see this just absolutely toxic, from both sides. You're like, good Lord.
It's fun.
Is he,
Man, is that a fireworks display though? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Is he all right? Yeah, is he doing okay there?
do you want to tell everyone about how you get home from places when you've been out and drinking? What your go-to method of transport is to get you home from nights out?
Oh God, what is...
Where you just run home from wherever you are.
Oh, yeah, I haven't done that in a while.
Have you not?
I don't...
That was the thing for a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then I went to Copenhagen, and then it was cycling, which was
Okay.
an upgrade.
What do you think is the
Which
longest
is-
you've run home from a night out?
Jesus, I don't know. I should have had my map my run on.
Yeah, you should have, but you
Definitely a
pushed-
couple of miles. It's
Couple
good when
miles.
you're fit because you're like,
Yeah, but you do run
Come on.
it at a lick.
yeah, with boots and jeans and
Yeah.
jacket. And I think when and obviously I'm a very stubborn person, so I was like, once you decide to do it,
Then you
once
wanna get
start,
PB.
and you're like,
Yeah.
and you're really at best you're probably shuffling. Like if someone's looking
I
at you
don't
like,
know. I think you go. I think.
yeah, well, listen, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. No, it's a really yeah.
But yeah, in Copenhagen, then it was cycling, and then
Yeah.
I had to end up in A&E.
Sure. Why did you end up in A&E?
Well, I was cycling home from the bar that I was working in,
And you're blackout drunk.
and oh yeah,
Ah,
like I
yeah, yeah,
couldn't. I unlocked my bike. I couldn't push it.
Okay, good.
Well, I couldn't stand, couldn't
Fine.
speak.
But you were like, but
But I thought
I
I'm
think
capable.
cycling's within me. Yeah,
And
yeah.
again, the stubbornness, part of my brain that was still in some way functioning. I was like, well, I'm in work tomorrow. And also, it would have been a 15-minute walk. That's all. And I was like, I'm going to walk 15 minutes. Then I'm going to cycle home. Then I'm going to cycle to work in the morning. So I got on the bike, and I just couldn't understand why it wouldn't go straight.
Yeah. That's
And again, I
confusing.
was very conscious of this, and I was very annoyed that I had no motor skills. And it was just going like this. And it was really, I only really had two. Down the road, right, left, right. That's I did it turn 3 times.
Mhm.
Going on a straight road. And I went under the scaffolding around me, and I got freaked out and just smashed into a parked car.
Yeah.
Leg was bleeding everywhere. Then I went to sleep, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to, bleed
bother
on the
anyone.
bed
Yeah,
with
yeah,
my
yeah.
girlfriend. So I
Yeah.
went and slept upstairs on the floor
Okay. No, correct.
and woke up. And I tried to put Savlon on it and plasters on an open wound. I
Yeah.
mean, it was a wound. It was on my shin. I woke up and it was
Good.
blood all over the floor, and I was like, probably should go to the hospital.
And
So
then walk.
I cycled to the hospital. So I was right to bring my bike home.
No good.
yeah,
So
that's
that'd be
it.
a good
This is-
unhinged one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a multitude of those, as you know.
Yeah.
You know.
What are your favourites in Mount Rushmore's of Fionn decision making after a bev or two?
I mean, that's certainly up there.
Yeah.
I mean, my proudest, I mean, not that this paid off, putting the trolley on the bus stop was,
What?
and you've seen that photo, come on.
No. Well, no.
Well, me and John, it was our friend's stag, and I was flying from London, and it was kind of an early night, and I think I was chasing the kind of fun we had when we were like 19, 20.
Fine. How old were you this time?
28,
Okay,
30. 20.
Right, you ready?
Oh, no, I think I was 30.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Maybe
yeah.
29.
But just chasing those days.
I was
Yeah.
like, fuck, flown home. And
Yeah.
there was no, we liked mischief. All good, clean fun. No one was hurt. Apart from certain cones and men at work signs we used to bring home on the bus. Anyway, so we got off the bus and I was staying with my aunt and uncles and John was staying with his folks around the corner. Got off the same bus stop and I was like, this night can't end. And there was a trolley, a Super Value trolley there. Someone had just abandoned it by the bus stop and I was like, right, something has to happen here. And I was like, well, this is not stuff I'm proud of. It's like in the past we used to throw it in the sea, and I was like, "Well, we've done that. That's old news.
That's old. Yeah, we
Let's
don't
be
do
original."
that. Great.
And I was like, "Right." And there was a school. I was like, I hopped on the wall. I was like, "John, give me that trolley." And he just lifted it up, and it just one movement, and it just landed perfectly and hung off the bus stop. And I've never been prouder in my life. And I forgot about this. And my aunt and uncle had been staying with like relatives, and they were driving home. And the next day, and they're like, "Were you and Massey up to mischief last night?" And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, we were." She goes, "I was joking. There's a trolley in the bus stop. Was that you?" I was like, "Yeah." Even now, to this day, and she thinks I'm a lunatic, and I love her dearly, and she's like a second mother. But she was like, "That's the best one you've ever done." She's still proud. Brings it for Christmas.
Yeah, that's.
I will
That's
say
so
this.
great. Everyone else's family's been like, they're married, 2 lovely kids, really great job, just got a promotion. Like, this is Fionn. He can lob a trolley over a bus stop.
But even like my little cousins all know about this story now. I was like, Fionn's going out. He's like, "Was any trolleys in the bus stop there? What happened? Was it a good night? Was it a trolley bus stop night?" But the older I get, and the more my dad is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like when I was bringing home, it's so ridiculous and trolley. Like I said, we would stick like a cone off the street of men at work signs. You bring them on the bus, and you go on the night link, and you're like, "Can I just put this?" And he was like, "Yeah, just throw it in the luggage thing there." The busman would just let you on. I was like, "Why was he allowing this?" It's probably just easier, just like some fucking tearaway fools.
Do you recognise you from your dad's days? He was like, it's this.
What's your second name?
Yeah, no, put it in the back. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I discovered years later that my mother had kept them in the shed.
Oh my God, all your treasures. All your nice
She said
treasures.
to my dad, she was like, that's the kind of thing you used to do. And he goes, "What do you mean used to do?"
Yes, he's holding 3 traffic cones over his shoulder. My brother, it must be such a boy thing. Did you ever do it? Did you ever bring like gifts home from your nights out?
It is gifts. It is
gifts. Archie brought home an entire set of garden furniture once. We came down.
Really impressive.
We came down in the next
Shout out
day,
to
and there
Archie
was
there.
a white plastic table and 3 chairs, and we were like,
How did you manage that?
"But Archie, like,
Does he remember how we did it?
he's like, he does like, there's a vague. He's like,
Yeah.
I do kind of remember, like I mean,
it's common theft at that point.
no, absolutely, but it is great. We had it once where we came out. We were on holiday in Portugal, and we came down, and he was just on the sun lounger outside, and we were like, "You're right," and he was like, "Yeah," and he didn't look broken or anything, but he was like, "Yeah, I am," and just this
Something
gash
occurred.
all the way down his leg, like all the way down his leg,
Jesus.
and we were like, "You right?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what it had been." And he just was sitting there trying to piece through how he could possibly have got it. Very
That's how
calm,
it was
very
next
like,
morning now.
yeah, it's the morning time. And he just was trying to piece together how he could possibly got it. It turned out what had happened, because his friend sort of had more of a memory, they'd pool jumped all the way home. So they had to go
Pool
through
jumped.
it was one of
Oh
those
my God,
resorts,
over the- yeah,
every
yeah.
single fence and pool on the
Oh
way
my
home.
God.
So they'd just gone like this.
I mean, in fairness,
Just up fence, into the pool, swim the pool, up, out the other side, up the fence, over the fence, all the way. Also, tell you...
Sorry, were you saying he was swimming through each pool as well?
Yeah, swimming through each pool, getting up the other side, then hopping the fence, then swimming through the pool, the other side.
I cannot tell you how impressed I am.
The whole way home. Now,
envious.
way to tell everyone you're middle class without saying you're middle class. He jumped through all the pools. And he swam through everyone's pools. But yeah, and that was what, and I guess one time I think he just got the fence wrong. And I guess kept going.
The fact that it was only one injury though.
Unbelievable. Well, we don't know that, do we? It could have been a multitude that all just racked up, didn't? But that's very much what he sort of pieced together. Yeah, we're going to find it from the blood specks through everyone else's nice pools.
Well, another one actually on that point of bleeding when you're drunk is when, and it was while you had just gone to Chicago.
This was the bath.
March.
This was your birthday.
It was Paddy's Day. Ireland had beaten England to win the Grand Slam at Twickenham on Paddy's Day.
Yeah.
And me and Robin and Roisin, obviously Roisin wasn't drinking. His people were at some ITV event we were invited to. Anyways, just, I don't know where we were. Massive screen, it was free Guinness. That was the start of the day. Then I was going to Damo Dempsey that evening. Foxy was there.
I once. Yeah.
Someone else was there. Then, don't really remember. Well, I remember the incident because I got home, I had an argument with my girlfriend at the time, and I was in pure chaos mode.
Yeah.
Of self-destructive. And the palace has that, the glass door, the bath.
Yeah. We have there's a glass screen next to the bath. I guess it's supposed to be like a shower thing, but I don't think we ever worked out how to use that.
No, it doesn't at all. It's like half the thing and there's water everywhere anyway. I fell into the bath.
Yeah.
I was having a wee and fell into the bath.
Which is yeah.
And I would have thought I was quite fit at the time. And so this is just a couple of dips. All I need to do was just engage those muscles and pull myself out and push myself out. That's it. And I got to there and I was wearing these boots and just kept hitting off the bath. Eventually, Robin knocked at the door. He's like, "Hey, mate," and so kind. It's like he was my dad, just looking out for me. He's like, "Hey, mate, you alright?" And I was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." He's like, "Just open the door, mate. Just open the door. Hey, it's okay." And what I had done, I think, was that for leverage, I grabbed onto the glass door, pulled it onto my head. What's strange is though, because I woke up the next morning with blood all over my face, right? Yeah. But I mustn't have been bleeding at the time, or else he would have gone, "FIONN, you're bleeding."
We hope.
So I eventually opened the door, full of shame, holding this.
The remnants of a glass door.
Pregnant with his. Yeah. Holding this glass door, and it didn't smash, but it was reefed off the wall. It was completely, and I was just holding it like this. "I'm so sorry." And he just took it off me and he put it in your room. And he goes, "It's okay, mate. Just go to bed." Shuffled off. Then woke up with blood and crushed all over my face. And then for ages, like you're saying with Archie, of what happened, I was like, did I get in a fight? Was I decked? And I'd taken this photo of I don't know, one or something of me smiling with my eye closed. And I was zooming in going, there's no blood there. And then I remembered the bath and I remembered. And it's still, it's
Have you still got it?
Yeah.
Is it the jiggly one?
Well, that's,
it's the one.
That's from being decked in Copenhagen.
Right.
This is bad.
You're
really close to my eyes.
You're like the song. You know when people are like, "The story on my face." You literally have receipts from all your nights out just across your face. That's really good.
This is one that's not drunk.
Okay, what was that one then?
I was doing June and the Paycock.
With Robin?
No, with you. I did,
the other one. Sorry. Yeah. Multi-Juno'd. Yeah, this guy.
Kind
of a Juno and the Paycock guy.
Don't even like the case. So my cousins were in, and I don't know. I think they're older, and I think I still have the thing in my head of wanting to impress them.
And yeah, you do. You and your cousins together are chaos. Yeah.
Still want to,
So you punched them. That was how you did it.
Knocked them out. but Johnny Boyle, he's traumatized, PTSD. Yeah. This. He goes into his room. I remember this, and he sees the ghost of the man who he sent to his death.
Yeah.
Right. So he tankard, and he comes out screaming. Somehow I went into the room, started screaming. Effectively ran through the door. I didn't run, but I pulled the door into my head, and then I collided with it and kept running. And Dervla was playing Juno. The scene is that she's kind of trying to calm me down anyway, and dab my face with because I'm supposed to be sweating. No, this is blood. I was just bleeding at the table in matinee. And Emmett, thankfully, because he has to go in as Bentham and check. Yeah. There's no ghost. He went. Give me some tissues. So Dervla is there just patting my bleeding head. And I was like, how do we just, and then she puts me down the bed. And that's part of the scene anyway. Didn't bleed that much, but I had to go to A&E and then do
And then do evening show.
an evening show.
This is the bit that gets me about like artists have this cliche, like actors and especially actors probably this thing about being like kind of pathetic and kind of wet and kind of pretend, and you're like, no, you fucking bled from the head and then had to do another show. Like there were horror stories. Like my mate just did an indie, like a little film, and he had one scene. There's a scene where he's drowning. And I guess it is an indie. There's not.
And they made him drown.
they killed him.
And it wasn't even rolling. I couldn't even use it. He's dead now.
Breathtaking performance.
Sorry, that was rehearsal. Don't die yet.
But they said it like you're drowning at sea. And when he'd taken it, he was like, "Can I just clarify how we're doing?" They were filming in January in Blackpool, and they were like, "He said, can I clarify how we're going to do the filming of the drowning?" And they're like, "Oh, you'll be in a tank. Right, you'll be in a tank. You'll be in a tank. Don't worry, you'll be in a tank. We'll have the tank." And then it got close, and they're like, basically, we're putting the tank in the sea, so it'll be a contained area, but in the sea, so that we get. And he was like, okay. More being like for temperature. Do you mean he wasn't sitting there like worried about sharks? Like he was like, I'm not really worried about. Yeah, I'm not really worried about like it being edged off. Like, wow, what's the water situation? Anyway, come to the day, and they're just like, fuck it, just getting like they were literally. He had to go to hospital hypothermia. Yeah, he got into hospital full tinfoil thing, and you're like, this happens.
How like the welfare, and I know it's we seem like shrinking, but
I know.
Oh my god, it's so difficult. But and maybe because it's an indie, I don't know. How does this doesn't occur to people?
No.
Of like maybe there's gonna be an issue with the temperature. He might actually die of hypothermia. And then they go, oh fuck, we really should have thought about that.
Really should have done that.
Something in place where our actor wouldn't have to go to hospital.
Well, it's sort of like, how many things have you shot in the summer, in February? And you're in, like, we did Royals, there was a scene set in Monaco, which was Cheam, Surrey. And so, because it looks so like Monaco, it's the spit. And I remember us all stood there in our bikinis and our swimsuits.
Yeah.
Sophie nearly gave herself a hernia, like because she was trying to like suck it all in and also be warm, and she was just like, we all look like we're having like minor like tremors in Monaco.
No matter how good an actor you are,
you're fucking freezing.
You cannot act warm when you're fucking freezing your bollocks off. I remember I had to do that with again an indie film. It was ultimately a great experience. And I'm very proud of it. And it was September, but it was still Ireland, and I'm not going to. It's
Ireland, yeah.
And they were kind of it was kind of just the thing of like, just get in the sea and we'll film you, and like. There was no actual. It was just my character's in the sea, just floating around. It was kind of rough, and I've done it a couple of times, and I was fucking cold. And I was trying to come back around. I was like getting hit off rock. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but I was getting a bit panicky because I'm, again, not a strong swimmer at all. You know, if you're not, then you just panic and seize up.
Yeah.
And eventually, he was like, "Just going to go again." I was like, "No, we're not going again. It's a fucking joke."
Were you in the water at the time, just like, "No, I'm not."
I think Fionn's waving at us, "Hey, we're rolling." And his mum was on set, and his sister come down with the kid and all this. And I just fucking lost. And this was kind of towards the end of the shoot, so it was like building. And I'm very fond of the director. He's exceptionally talented. Just one of those things where they hadn't really considered that it might be an issue of freezing fucking Irish sea. Can't really swim. Let's just go again. I was like, "No, that." And they were like, "You said that was the last one. Not doing it again. That's it." And I just fucking snapped. And I was like, not really proud of it. But like, I was terrified.
But I'm
going to
die. But I'm going to die here. I don't even have as good an excuse as drowning. I remember losing it. I found out after the fact that I'd actually put the director in rehab.
That's a good thing, right?
I'm proud of it. But I didn't know after. So I did this awful play in town in London. And I think it counted as off West End. No, not the Spice Girls. Spice Girls was a time of my life, but this was another one. And it is that thing. I've always said I love Tech Week. You know, Tech. So for people who don't know what Tech Week is,
I cannot believe you.
I know.
I knew you were one of those lunatics.
Yeah, I love Tech Week. So Tech Week is the week before you actually open. Most actors hate, and it's when you are doing it for the tech. So you will do the same scene 18 times, and then you'll move on to the next one and do it 18 times because you're getting it right for light, sound, cues, scene changes, anything that isn't the actor. So the idea being the actors have turned up, they're ready to go. We're now doing it for costume department, for lights out, whatever. I love Tech Week. Most actors hate it because it's just sitting around.
You must be the only person.
I haven't met many of us, but I love it. There's something. Do you know what I feel it is?
Because you're creating it, because you're really.
No, I think it's control. I think it's control because Because I'm
Okay.
not a control freak at all.
But go on, because
I love theatre's my absolute favorite. I love it so much. The bit that prangs me out is the tech because I don't understand it. I don't understand lighting and sound. I know I'm at the mercy of it, but I'm not
Yeah.
in control of it. So, funnily enough, watching them get it right puts me at ease. So
okay.
I go,
Well, that makes sense.
okay, they know that, and they
They
know
know
that
what
I
they're
have to
doing,
have this
so
thing
it's-
scene left on you know in the wings in the left. They know that I have to have this costume change. We've practiced this costume change, so now they know they won't mess it up because I know I've got a costume change, but they might not. It's all that stuff, like the stuff that I'm out of control of. I watch them be in control of.
And that kind of you feel comfort in
Relaxes
that.
me a lot, and also I just like hanging
Okay.
out and
What if they're incompetent? Then?
so this
Then
is
that would be you go.
so this is what happened. So with just before we went into tech, you know, you do those final 2 runs
Yeah.
to run the whole show. I had this
props.
play. This
No.
play hinged on a timeline. So it was all about they were working towards this date, and throughout the play, they're 2 weeks away, they're a week away, then they're 3 days away, then they're 2 days. And I said from the off, I was like, I want us to plot the days how far away they are because I need to understand when they're getting stressed out, how intense this is. Are they a week away from this deadline? Are they 3? I just want to
Where
have
are
an
you in the
understanding because it's
story?
quite
Yeah.
vague. We're coming in and out of scenes and things, and I just want to make sure we all know the plotted history of the timeline we're on. At every stage of the game, they've been like, Hatty, don't worry. Yeah, of course, we'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that at some point. And at every
And it
point,
just
I'd been
never
like,
happens.
please, can we just...
I need this.
I need to understand because I need
that's
everyone else to
perfectly
understand.
reasonable.
It is, Fionn,
You know.
it was all perfectly reasonable. I was so perfectly reasonable. I know I'm not talking about it like I was perfectly reasonable, but at the
Yeah,
time,
but you would ask several
I'm like you. I'm
times.
such a table work gal. Like everything is on paper, and I've done all my homework, and I've done whatever. Got to the bit before Tech Week, and he was like, "Now we just need to make sure that we know at this point that you know we can do a really quick change." And I went, "No, we won't do a quick change because
Terrifying.
it's a different day. It's a different day, so I'll need time to be in a different costume because it's a different day." And he was like, "No, Hattie, it's the same day." And this was the director talking. And I was like, "It isn't
I've
because
done
in
my
the scene
homework."
I've just done, I've talked about 3 days. And in this scene, I've talked about tomorrow. It has to be 2 days later for that." And I suddenly, in that
petrifying
moment,
then.
was
They
like,
don't know what
"You
they're
don't know what you're doing." The director didn't know what he was doing. And I
would
fucking
freak you out.
lost it. And I was like, it is not. I have been sat here. And like this fucking stage manager. Stage managers, by the way, are worth their weight in gold. A shitty one, I would fucking hang. I would hang in public. I would hang in the middle of a town square and be like, this fucking guy. Women are the best stage
stoning.
managers. Can I
Yes.
say that?
Oh, 100%.
Women are the best stage managers.
Without doubt.
This fucking douche. He was like, then he goes,
Oh, God.
and you will love this. He turned to me, Hattie, I think we've listened to you a lot recently.
Did he put his hand up as well like that?
Fionn,
Oh
so
my
help
God. Oh
me
my
God.
God.
So help
I hope you knocked him
me
out.
God. I was like,
We've listened to you a lot.
I was
recently.
like, and you, like,
Yeah,
and just
don't get me. fucking
my
started.
boyfriend at the time was in the show, and I think literally grabbed me
Yeah.
and just like
You're gonna
almost
be
like
going for first
wrestled
degree
me
here.
out the room, like, and I was like, and another thing, like, and had lost it. But it was in that moment.
Well, it all builds up, and you finally then because you're trying to be reasonable the whole time, and you've made you've aired your whatever concerns you might
And
have,
you've
then
brought
it's just
your-
no one's listening to you.
And you've done your job.
Yeah.
You've done I was like, I've
And everything
learned
else
my lines.
isn't.
I've worked on the character. I've done this. And now I'm finding out with 2 days before Tech Week that you haven't fucking done
No
yours.
one has a fucking clue.
And I flipped. And in
Because
that,
ultimately, of course, we're the ones who are fucking up there.
and that's
and
what I
we
said
get
to him.
shown
I was
up.
like, I'm the one heading into the lion's den.
Yeah.
I am the one who's going to stand there on press night with the lights on me,
watch it all
with the
fall
reviewers
apart.
in the room, with the journalists in the room, with people, with agents, with casting directors. I'm in the fucking lion's
on
den.
me.
You're in the fucking gallery watching.
Yeah,
That's I
you
am.
can just leg it.
So you could do. I was like, and it's that I'm bad the week before Tech Week because it's when that realization of I'm the one walking into the lion's
Well,
den,
because you're totally exposed.
totally exposed, and that's. And it always sounds ridiculous when you tell people because obviously we started this podcast and we're just pretending, but you're
Well,
like,
it is.
but then it's you
It's
being
very difficult.
so exposed. And people who were meant to look after you, people who were meant to get you to a place
This
where you
is
felt
your
protected and
job.
safe and ready,
This is why there are
have
all
been
these
like,
different.
oh, I didn't really read the script properly. And you're like, I will.
What day is it again?
Yeah.
Are those my feet?
I will. And I will
Yeah.
burn this building to the fucking ground. And I
Well, yeah,
did.
if everyone's not pulling their weight, then you're just fucked.
I did.
You're
Yeah.
just kind of
Yeah.
floating along.
It's quite a habit for me, actually. I remember the night that 2 days before Viva opened, and Viva was, like I said, one of the worst reviewed pieces of theatre of all time, but probably one of the best moments of my life. Must have told you about this. The Viva.
Please send me again.
So I did Viva Forever, the Spice Girls musical. It was way before we met, and it was so catastrophically reviewed that I think it might still be one of the worst reviewed musical openings of all time.
You got to be proud of that as well, right?
But to the point that what they did at one point on the poster was they lined up 5 stars in a row of 1-star reviews. And so they...
What, to make it appear like it was...
make it look like 5 stars.
Oh, we got 5 stars. Just from 5 different
people.
Now I respect that.
Right. And then
the audacity.
It got so bad that it became our thing that, like, this is the worst reviewed musical of all time, so let's just fucking lean in. There was one review.
It then. Fuck it.
There was one review, and again, it's art in itself. Like, a good reviewer is art in and of itself. And he wrote... The Taliban finishing school for females has more girl power than this musical.
Oh my God.
At this point, you're like, this is the greatest musical of all time. Like, if we can elicit these kinds of reviews, this is unbelievable. But we didn't know, I would say, when we were opening, whereas with that play that I was just talking about, we knew it was not good. I knew it was not good. And I knew that I was about to get, like, sent to the dogs. And flip. Viva, we didn't know.
Like...
Viva, I think we still had an idea. Like, it was so fun and sparkly and Spice Girls-y and whatever that we were like, we could get away with this. But I had to say, I did a similar thing about 2 days before. I mean, it was a big old musical with like big old names in it and like some real heavy hitters. And we were having a trouble with a scene, and it was literally 3 days to go. And I remember, I just remember saying like, well, how about if I spin around and I take that exit off, and then that leaves her to come in. It was all about exits and entrances and people being on stage at the right time. And the director, who was this, this fucking bitchy little...
very fond of...
He was like, he did the thing of like, yes, thank you, Hatty.
Oh my God.
Yes, thank you, Hatty.
Oh
and I was like, and I remember just like, I was just in my dressing room crying and crying. Because at that point, I was never going to turn around and pop off because I knew my place and I was very new and I was very like, but you're sitting there being like, you don't know how to solve this. And this is terrifying because this is probably one of the biggest openings of a musical in recent memory. Like, I mean, it wasn't great, but it was, I mean, the press around it was so enormous. The Spice Girls, Jennifer Saunders, Judy Kramer, it was so, and you suddenly go, the captain's drunk. Do you know what I mean? You're like, the captain's not getting, you know what I mean? Do you see in the film Triangle of Sadness?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God, Fionn, you'd love it so much. That's so up your street. But it's that thing of like, the captain's gone, like the captain's office, and I find that so scary. And I think that's something maybe actors get a lot, which is, unlike comedy, I mean, I'm the captain of the ship. I captain it. It's all on me, which is good and bad at the same time. Acting, there are so many fucking captains that you're constantly having to defer to.
At the mercy.
At the mercy of. And a lot of them fail you.
Yeah.
A lot of them fail you. And it's horrifying. But you go, do you ever have the thing where you look around at what we call like normal people? Like we look around at the people who have, we should probably stop calling them normal people. It's very condescending and it is true.
What else do you call them?
I don't know. Plebeians? What's the word? The peasants. Where they have like jobs that do a certain number of hours, same amount of money comes in at the end of every month. They have maybe a home they even pay a mortgage on, or they've lived there. Do you ever look at it and go, should I have done it?
No.
Never do.
I mean, I'm probably like 10 grand in debt at the moment.
No, sure. Yeah.
Loans upon loans of paying off overdrafts.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. It's somewhat unfortunate. And this is not, that was something else on my phone to like talk about money. Like when do you appear on Unhinged? Anytime I have any small degree of money.
Yeah, you yeah.
Because I just don't understand how.
No, you don't. And I like that.
You know, but I've never actually. Yeah, of course you can. There are times when you're like, oh, you know, you flirt with the idea of, but also, I wouldn't have any skills to do anything else.
No.
Like what would I mean? If you could probably just get a fucking. I don't understand that world of being in an office or having that kind of structure. Because then what you just do with this one thing, and you get promoted or whatever, maybe move business, whatever. You do until you die. Thankfully for us, there's no retirement age.
Well, there can't be because we don't have any pensions.
Yeah. Oh well. So having done that one show on the National, I think I have.
Did you get your pension?
£86.
Yeah, do you know what?
I'll get when I'm 66. If I survive, and then it'll be like at that point it'll probably be a pint is 40 quid, so I'll get 2 pints maybe when I'm 66, and I'll just blow my brains out. I'm going to cash this pension in, please. That doesn't know how it works. Just give me the 88 pence, please.
Do you know what? Just give me 2 pints.
Yeah.
Just sling
We'll call it quits.
It's, oh my God. It's what you, do you remember that time when you got the video game and you were a millionaire for about 3 months?
That's what I was thinking about when you guys came over and you were like, well, yeah, stop acting like Kanye.
We're a millionaire.
I was paying for dinner. I was, Also,
Fiona got one video game.
I also hadn't worked that year at all. I'd done one day of a short film. I was doing the slips and trips. I was working with Foxy on the sites.
Slips and trips, we need to explain. Fionn is constantly, like, because of how bad he is with money, his mates always get him jobs. Like they'll get him in at a pub, which he inevitably gets fired from. Or you were a baker for like 3 weeks with Robin, and then...
I mean, I was just tempted to sell the bread.
He was a voluntary baker. He wasn't even getting paid. He just wanted to be with Robin.
Actually, he gave me £20 once, and I bought this belt with it in Brixton. I still have it. So that's what I got to show for that.
Slips and trips was our absolute favourite. So Foxy, he's a very good mutual friend of ours, is an engineer. Is a very, very good engineer. Works like as
amazing actor, but when he's not
amazing actor,
have an actual career.
But he has an actual career that he can fall back on because he's smart and he's bought a house. But so he put Fionn on the building site, and
so I wanted to. I had this idea that I was like, I've never really done anything like a real job. You know, I want to be the man. It's like this outrageous idea.
I want to work with my hands.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly
of course
what it was. Like, I never felt, I feel inadequate. I mean, I'm an actor and I've worked a couple of bar jobs. Foxy got me the cushiest job, labouring.
And the one thing you had to do was get your slips and trips exam. Was it? Did you have to take
whatever the safety kind of thing.
Good. It feels like you took it seriously.
Oh, very very seriously.
So we got a card saying that he was what, like, qualified in slips and trips.
Also, my first day, which I'm sure I've told you, in Battersea Power Station, again, I walked to work. People were travelling an hour, 2 hours from all over London, outside of London. I would stroll down on my hard hat at like 10 to 8 and have the cushiest job in the world. The induction for Battersea Power Station, there was a sign, and I'm pretty sure I'm not misquoting this. It said, "We need to get better at crushings and trappings," right? Which would imply that they hadn't had enough crushings and trappings, and they weren't hidden there.
That's why they brought you in.
There's only been last week 2 crushings and trappings. Guys, we need to do better here. You say it's like it's been 0 days since an accident. Permanently at 0.
So you got brought in on the slips and trips department, did you?
Yeah, just slipping and tripping.
So,
I would occasionally carry timber. I would hand someone a drill once they let me use the saw. My first day was Storm Ophelia. Everyone else had left. It was a small outfit of like this wood.
Yeah.
They were involved in
just
wood.
a bit of wood.
Decking. It was decking.
Oh my, well
with
done.
the wood. Everyone else was sent home. We were carrying timber up around. The fucking timber was flying off because it was a storm. The man's like, "Oh no, it's fine. Keep going." I was like, "This is my first day. I'm pretty sure this is in terms of slips and trips. There's very many a potential slip and many a potential crushing and trapping." That was a fantastic time. Anyway, the video game, that was the first.
But no, can we go on this? Because you did something. There was something that I remember Foxy telling us. There was a guy working on the construction site you didn't like.
French magician. When I had an argument with a French magician in an Oakwood or something. Yeah, the boss started sending me all to different places. Like, literally, I need a body. Someone who's somewhat sentient being.
Alive.
I had no skills whatsoever. And I got sent to this house. I presume we were doing decking. I don't know what we were doing. I think I was on my phone. He was also on his phone, the little prick. He was a magician, a French magician. He had incredibly elevated sense of his own self-worth, right? He was this snarky little fucker. Anyway, he called my boss. He was like, I won't even attempt certified native accent.
Certified native accent.
He's like, "Yeah, Fionn's just on his phone." He did it in front of me. I saw him call Gary on the fucking phone. I was like, "You little rat. You rat bastard." I started shouting. I was like, fuck this. Is it Fionn? He's on his phone.
Yeah, he's on his way.
He's on his phone. That is it.
Fionn is a gifted actor.
Anyone wants me to do a French-Italian accent? Anyway, so he made this call in front of me, watching me. And I was like, so I started shouting down the phone. I was like, "Gary's lying. He's lying." He's talking shit there.
You just have a hammer. Like, listen,
Yeah.
I'm banging things right now.
He doesn't do any work. He's on his phone all day. I was like, you're on your phone, you little. Nearly came to blows with this French magician.
Didn't you hide his?
Oh yeah. Oh my god, I'd forgotten that. What was it? The spirit level or something?
You
It was
hid the thing he needed.
something that he needed for his work, and I don't know anything about it. So
No, so you just
whether it was a ham, I think it was something that was very integral to his line of work. I was like, fuck this prick. I watched him look for this in his garden for like a half an hour. I never told him, I just went home. It's so petty, but I'm actually quite proud of it.
Oh, it's so good. And it's also so good that, like, Foxy just got you this job to help, to be like, Fionn needs a bit of income. He wants to be a man of the people and get his hands dirty and work. And you're just running around hiding things from French magicians. Like, there's no situation we can put you in where you don't just cause mischief. Like, there's no crash big enough for Fionn where he can't cause absolute chaos.
Just an agent of chaos.
Oh God. Well, on that, I think that seems like the right place to end
Represent
what has
Philippines.
been cry laugh of Hatty's
An
Unhinged
absolute pleasure.
episode. Friend, you've been lovely as per.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much for doing it.
We love it, 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 we love it.